Hey everyone, how's everyone doing tonight? Hope you're having a good Friday. Just realized earlier that it is Friday the 13th. So far, everything's been going really well. I was waiting a little bit behind time, waiting. Whoa. Okay, I had two screens open, so I was hearing myself talk back. So, anyway, glad everyone showed up. Give a few shout outs to start with. We got my friend Brian Terrell from Red Dirt Cryptid Investigations in the chat there, and I'd like to have Brian on for a show sometime and an interview if he'd like to. And there's a Mark Livewire. Like to shout out to our good friend of mine. Gave me this shirt I'm wearing here. He come to the store. Fellow named Randolph Anderson, been a longtime friend of mine, and he had been down to around Honubby, and he saw this shirt, and he just said, that had you written all over it. So he brought it to me. Maybe he'll show up in the chat later on. Waiting around a little bit. Cornell from the No Such Thing podcast may be joining in here in a little bit. But see a lot of familiar names there, and I didn't have anything really lined up as far as a new trip to the mountains video or anything. So I thought I'd come on and talk a little bit about some things that are upcoming that I've got planned for the what's left of the spring and the summer, and some new projects and such. Thanks a lot to Cashew for moderating for me tonight. That lets me be able to pay attention to the show and not monitor all that. So I appreciate you very much, Cashew. So see a lot of familiar names. Going forward here, I've got a solo camp planned, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I did a video, I think last month, maybe a little further back, where I scouted out a new research area there close to where I grew up in southern Hughes County. And that place is a jungle right now. I mean, it is, it almost was when I was down there before, but now it's green, filled up with mosquitoes. But that is an area that back when I was a teenager, a group of people run into a Sasquatch after dark when they were down there. And that's not even a mile from where this area that I'm looking at going to camp is. So I've got all that squared away, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll be doing that. And I wanted to say thanks to everyone who has purchased my book. Actually, I've got a couple of books, and the links down there in the description if you'd like to buy one. This one here is my latest, Kiamichi Bigfoot, and this is basically about my research into this subject for pretty much all of my adult life, and even going back before that. Yeah, Brian, ticks everywhere, and that's the most irritating thing this time of year. Ticks and mosquitoes. Of course, the ticks, you sure don't want to get Lyme disease for sure. A good friend of mine, actually, that was featured on the Bigfootville documentary with me in a part of it, had contracted Lyme disease a couple of years ago, and he still has problems with that. So, yeah, the ticks, they are a terrible thing. And I want to share since we got a Red Dirt Cryptid Investigations Brian on here. I met him a couple of years ago. They had a Bigfoot festival, I guess the first and only one they ever had at Colgate, which is just down the road from me. And I don't know if anyone here knows Brian, but he's a big guy. I mean, he's a lot taller than me, and just a pretty imposing figure. And I'd never met him before. And he walked up to me and he said, "I've been looking for you." And I was like, "Oh boy, what did I do?" But very, very nice fella, and he's been putting a lot of work into this subject as well. I've been here the last few videos, experimented a little bit. as you know, the title of my channel is Bigfoot and More, and the Bigfoot, because that's the main thing that I look into. But I put the more in there so I could add some other things. And I've put up some mushroom hunting videos of hunting for morel mushrooms, and didn't know exactly how that would go over, but they've been getting a lot of views. So I'm assuming that there are subscribers to my channel that like to hunt for morel mushrooms as well. So I've got one more video this year about the mushroom hunting, and I made a spore slurry out of some of those mushrooms. And with that, oh, hey, Malcolm. You mix the mushrooms with some type of sugar and some other things and water, and you make basically a spore slurry and put that out. And I made a video about making that and putting it out as well. So we'll see how that works. If it worked out well, next year I'll have morel mushrooms in a whole nother area. We got Malcolm on there. That's another friend of mine. And Malcolm, you and I, we got to get together sometime this summer and go out and explore some new areas around here. There's a lot of good places. But yeah, the next one that I've got planned is not far from my home, in an area in southern Hughes County, and see what we can come up with there. The last time I was there, I tried going live on my phone, and something was walking along the ridge above me. I mean, I didn't see it, so it could have been anything. But I start walking up the ridge, and this is well after dark, as you know, if you were watching that episode, and my phone went dead right there. I'd run out. I'd been talking longer than I thought, I guess, and phone went completely dead. So those of you who actually have my cell phone number that I know more personally, I started getting a lot of texts from people saying, "Hey, you okay?" So looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, that probably looked like I walked right into a monster in the woods waiting to make a meal out of me. So, and past that, next I've got some trips planned to go back into the Kiamichi Mountains, and that hopefully within the next few weeks, just as work allows and all of that. But going back to the same areas that I go to a lot, solo camp. Cornell from the No Such Thing podcast, if everything works out for him, should be down sometime. Amon Chris, but did you die? I don't think so, unless I'm in some weird parallel reality now. But no, I did not die. So one thing I do know that in this area, not in the Kiamichi, but back here in southern Hughes County, just about a mile over the ridge from where I was camping, some neighbors there have seen a mountain lion on their property twice just within the last year. So I know I've got to keep my eye out for that thing. And something did take one of our calves. And usually, if a predator like coyotes, which coyotes really don't go after your cows and stuff that often. They are mostly after smaller prey. But something took a calf and drug it off somewhere we didn't find it, and it's down in that same area. So I do have to watch out for that. So let me see here. Also, Kerry Arnold, Bigfoot Odyssey, talked to me, and he said sometime this summer he's going to come up to Arkansas, and then he wants to come over to Oklahoma and meet up with me and do an Odyssey with me there. So if that works out where we can, I'm looking forward to it. I like Kerry and those folks. So anyway, what else? Oh, there's a Bigfoot museum in Tallahena that a young lady opened up, I think last year, and she wants me to set up with her and come do a book signing there. And I don't have a web address for that, but it's a Tallahena Bigfoot Museum. And she's got some pretty neat stuff there. So I'm looking forward to going there. Yeah, Cashew, spoiler alert, I am still living. So anyway, I appreciate everybody for coming by. And also, like I say, I finished this book. I have a draft for my next book. And the next book is going to be another fictional horror story. And I'll give you a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you what manner of cryptid is in it, but it's not a Bigfoot. So I'll just leave that hanging. It's something different. My aunt, she asked me, she said, do you ever write anything that's not way out? And I'm like going, hey, I like the woods and I like mysteries. So, cryptids in the woods, that's just the ultimate mystery there. Do a signing, Don say, do a signing at the Bigfoot Museum at Boring, Oregon. Is that really a town, Boring? I'm not familiar with that. Is that the one that Cliff from Finding Bigfoot has? Or is that a different one? So, yeah, that's quite a drive for me. I'm down in southeast Oklahoma. If there's anybody on here that doesn't know, hey, there's Will Star. And I tell you, if you guys haven't visited Will Star's YouTube channel, man, he has gone gangbusters on turning some really good videos out, especially some old historical accounts and stuff. And he gives a lot of location with those too. So he's been doing a great job there. So I wanted to open this up to some questions tonight. Like I say, this morning I got up and I didn't even have an idea to do this yet, but like I say, I didn't have another video made to put out this week. So I thought, well, I'll just come on here and let people have asked some questions and stuff. But I got a question too. Most of the cryptid research, well, pretty much all of it, the cryptid like investigations that I do have been centered around Sasquatch. That's my main thing, always has been. And I've included, hey, Evans, there's Evans Bailey. You got Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks on there. I guess she's not having a show tonight, so I welcome everyone. But what do you guys think about thoughts on other cryptids that are reported? I mean, the one that people talk about a lot right now is Dogman, and I've given my thoughts on that. And respectfully, I think Dogman, if something like that is real, to me belongs more in an area of the paranormal than what you'd call flesh and blood. I've never experienced anything regarding that as well. I know Brian and Red Dirt Cryptid Investigations has looked into that as well. Also out further out in the Far East, what they call the Lizard Man. Well, I don't know what to think of that. I think that's over in Georgia or whatever. But there's other things talked about that are out there in the woods. So if anyone has a question or would like to chime in something here, I'd like to hear it and I will address that. So just type it in. And Cashew's doing a great job throwing links up there to other people's YouTube channel and stuff. But yeah, like I say, I was expecting Cornell to join me on here, and I sent him a link, but he hadn't popped up yet. We haven't done the okay. Mark at Livewire. South Park has the man bear pig. That yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? And what is that show that comes on that has something like a sheep squatch or something that I mean, they just have all kinds of silly shows on TV. Sheep squatch, that would be a weird thing. I'm on Chris's. What is your go-to camp food? If there's a creek with a fishing hole close to my camp and the fish are biting, I like to catch fish and fry them right there on the creek bank. Now, Mark at Livewire, him and his son Austin went with me one time, and the fish were not biting, so it was beanie weenies in a can, and Mark had picked up some of these heatable dinners at microwavable meals at the dollar store. We didn't have a microwave, and Mark was sitting there eating them just cold out of the package, and he's there. He's got to remember that. And so I got a little innovative, and I filled a skillet with water, and I set the microwavable meal still wrapped up in the skillet of water in the campfire and let it heat it up. And then I opened it up and I had a hot meal. So, yeah, Wheelstar burgers and brats, camp food. Yeah. Somebody else asked me something later up here. Let me back up. Yeah, mountain monsters. Now, everybody's got to know Mountain Monsters is satire. There's no way those guys think that that's real. And I've got to throw this in there. The funniest episode of Mountain Monsters is when they were going up to look for the Mothman, and the part of that team that's the old Marine, got, bald-headed guy, built the world's largest bug zapper. And I thought that was the funniest thing that I'd ever heard. Go to camp food. Donald Fuller asked what got me into the subject. I wrote about that too in my latest book. Basically, my mother back in the 60s, I was born in 67, but my mother worked for a veterinarian named Dr. Lewis Stiles that was in Holdenville at the time, but he was raised in Broken Bow. And he had actually sent a letter to Roger Patterson in 66 or so, before Patterson and Gimlin film was done. And somehow he knew that about Roger's stuff that he was doing there. And he sent him a letter saying, "Hey, look, I'm a veterinarian and I'd love to come along with you on one of your trips. If nothing else, I could look after the horses." And that never happened. But Roger, he got one of Roger's books, and that book was "Do Abominable Snowmen of America Really Exist?" And when I was a kid, we would go, when they moved back to Broken Bow, we would go down there and visit them, and I would get that book and look at it when I was a little kid, and I was just enthralled with that. And that's the first thing that got my interest in it. I want to try to get everybody's questions here. Let's see. Donnie Miller has seen the dog man on his property. I don't guess I know Donnie, Sharon. Let's see. Birds and brats. Dave, have you had any reports other than Bigfoot? Yes, actually. And I think there's actually two other reports that I totally 100% believe these people, but it wasn't any kind of animal cryptid. One was of some people were out in the woods at night, and this was in that same area in southern Hughes County where I camped here recently, and they saw a flash of. First, they saw a small glowing humanoid figure in the woods, and then there was a flash of light and it disappeared. Now, these people were terrified of it, so I know they saw something. Let's fast forward probably about 10 years from there, and this other one took place allegedly about maybe 2 miles from my house where I'm sitting right now, and it was a couple of teenage boys, which I know very well, were out by the creek by their house looking for a cow or something at night, and a glowing small humanoid figure took off running from them into the woods. Now, I asked the young man what he thought it was. He said, the closest thing I could think of is some kind of extraterrestrial. Now, those are the only two reports of that type of creature that I've gotten. I don't know what to make of it, except both of those are reporting that. I believe them. If that wasn't the, if it was mistaken identity, I don't know what it would have been. I don't know any bipedal humanoid creature that glows in the dark and disappears in a flash or runs from people. That's the strangest. That's definitely the strangest things that I've heard. So what is, I don't know. Another, I had the report from Southeast Oklahoma of a guy said it was a chupacabra, but it's the chupacabra is the variety that to me is a mangy coyote, basically a hairless dog-like animal. Okay, let me get caught up here. I don't want to leave anybody out. I want everybody to be able to have their say. Okay. Cashew, Donnie Miller, Standing Goats Rescue. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. I don't know the individual personally. Will Star, how many morels did you find this year? Well, not to brag, because I hunted very aggressively this year, and I found from early April to the last week of April well over 100. So my freezer is, I got plenty to keep me very filled up there. Greg Williams, what do you know about the big New Mexico Bigfoot expedition last week that was such a big deal? Actually, Greg, I don't know about that. And part of the reason I have not prepared another video this week is because I have been so busy at work. So I'll look at it, but I don't know. So I'll definitely check into that. Okay, we got a back up here, and yeah, Malcolm Steaks is a good. I tell you what, Malcolm mentioning steaks is a good camp food. Last year, when me, my son Elijah, and Cornell come down from Massachusetts, Cornell brought steaks for us, and my son cooked them up, and that was some of the best steaks I've ever eaten. That was great. And then the month after that, I met with John Hodges, further lower Kiamichi Mountains there, and camped with him. And John Hodges has the YouTube channel, John Hodges Anything Outdoors, and we took some steaks there. We grilled those. So enjoy what happened to your friends. Okay, I'm getting behind here. Other than Bigfoot, yes. Evans hearing the Dogman reports from Western Oklahoma, and I can't be any other way but honest. I have no idea what to make of the Dogman thing. I've never seen or heard anything that I would attribute to anything like that myself. Yet people are still reporting things like that. So, like I say, it's not really my specialty. Don C, laid back and realistic attitude in your videos. Had experiences myself and whole family, so no, they're real and out there. Some get a little carried away. Yeah, I've never had any negative interaction with what I would think is a Sasquatch. Now, the only time I've actually seen one, at least that I'm like 90, just upper 90% sure it was not very big, and it was across a creek from me. And as soon as my eyes locked on it shot off through the woods and got out of there. Before that, in that same area, me and a good friend of mine named Brian Baker, which if I could ever get him out of the woods, I'll have him on one of the shows. But we were investigating a sighting by a man who breaks horses for a living, and he was riding a horse down this trail, and a Sasquatch walked out in the trail about 50 yards ahead of him, saw him, and ran back into the woods. And we were down there investigating that sighting. And earlier in the day, we were hiking along the creek. Something was pacing us into the woods, making this whistling noise, and I can't really describe it. It was kind of high-pitched gurgling type whistle, and it was walking with us and doing that, so it wasn't a bird. But that late that night, early morning, actually about 2 o'clock in the morning, something threw a large rock against a tree just at the edge of our camp, and this rock was 25, 30 pounds, and it hit the tree with force. Now, I've had some people say that's aggression, and my answer is it could just as easily have lobbed that rock into us. My impression of that is it was letting us know that it was there and would rather us not be. So let me see what else we got here. Malcolm, Dave, can you tell us what it's like while solo investigating? Any strategies or anxieties? Strategies, really, I try to look at like virtually, with very few exceptions, the Bigfoot sightings or encounters that I've investigated involve people that were camping, driving, going about their business, and just happened to see one of these things. I was watching somebody's show today. It might have been Les Stroud, maybe not, but they said, we don't find Bigfoot. Bigfoot finds us. And that's, I believe, very indicative of this mystery. People out actively looking, not so much. So, I mean, my strategy is basically I go camping, I go hiking, I go fishing, and kind of mind my business and just be as aware as I can. And see what happens. Anxieties, not really. Really, it's not about anxiety. When you solo camp, and I can't stress this enough, especially if you're out in an area like in the Kiamichis where I go a lot, where there is no phone signal whatsoever, and you're miles from the nearest town. Where I would go, I'm like 20 miles from the nearest town. I mean, there's people that live out along some of the roads going out there, but I mean, you're a long walk through some rough territory to get anywhere if something happens. So really, solo camping, you just need to be a lot more aware of your surroundings. I mean, if you've noticed, when I do a video of myself when I'm out solo camping or hiking, I'm moving pretty slow. And the reason is if I step on a venomous snake, I'm my own rescue. If it's a copperhead, yeah, I'm going to be miserable, but I'm going to get out of there. But if I get bit by a timber rattler or a cottonmouth and I'm out there by myself, I'm potentially in a whole lot of trouble. So solo camping or hiking, it just be extremely aware of your surroundings, and not just venomous animals. You got wild pigs out there, which I've encountered them many times. They always thankfully run the other direction. I've encountered a black bear twice. They ran like crazy. As soon as they saw me, they shot off the other direction, which is a good thing. That's what I want. What if you're hiking up the side of a ridge and you break a leg or something? So there's just those things you've got to take into consideration. Anxiety, no. Unwanted or unneeded anxiety or fear, that can lead to an accident itself. So it's just being very aware of your environment. Now, the only thing really I worry about out there, I'm not worried about a Sasquatch coming and getting me. I'm just not. I mean, if Bigfoot's out to get us, I think he's not very good at it, or we'd hear a lot more negative encounters. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it never has to me. But I'm more concerned would be more of a people up to no good coming into camp. And I've had that happen once, but when they saw that I was armed and I guess not what they perceived as a target, they turned around and left quickly, and I didn't have any other issues with them. But yeah, anxiety, no, Malcolm. I just try to pay a lot of attention because at the end of the day, my main thing is I want to have a good time. I want to enjoy nature, hopefully see or hear or find some kind of evidence of Sasquatch, but then I want to be able to go home. So that's that. Let's go a little further. I'll tell you what, I can't stress enough what a good job Cashew does as a moderator. And I know you guys, if you go to very many Bigfoot podcasts, you recognize Cashew as moderator on a lot of them. And I do appreciate that. Did you look into similar stories of the cloaking cryptid? I've never, Patty, personally investigated a cloaking cryptid. Now, I did get a report that I made a video of that happened up by Tulsa. Now, and I believe the guy, very sincere. Question is on the cloaking cryptids is what would that fall under? I don't know of any flesh and blood creature that can cloak. So if it's not that, would that put it into extraterrestrial category? A lot of people have reported that, so I don't discredit that. My thoughts are just like, what in the world is that? So, Patty, I don't know what category that would be in, but it is something that's reported more commonly than a person may think. Oh, wow. Thanks, Will. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got and I never solicit funds or anything, but I got a notice from YouTube that I qualified for super chats and all that. So, Will, man, I appreciate that. Okay. No such thing. Podcast. Cornell, I emailed you the link. Go to, did you not get the link? I sent it it shows it's sent. Excuse me, guys, just a second here. Sent. Yeah, I see. It shows it went to your email, Cornell. Because I don't have a good enough cell phone reception out here to send it in a text. But yeah, check your email, Cornell. Okay, let me back up here. Yeah, Yeti's uncle. That's another friend of mine that goes way back, and he's given some good reports on here that I've made a report of on here and included it in my new book as well. Flying humanoid. I never have seen anything like that, and to be quite honest with you, I don't want to. Let's see. Yeah, that gurgling whistle. That's one of the things I don't even know how to imitate that. But yeah, Randy, I've never got a report of that. Just a warning, not a great. Yeah, okay. I'm backing up through this. Kinder. Yeah, good to see you too, Yeti's uncle. Glad you could make it. I'm glad everybody could make it. That's why I'm trying my best to get to everybody's question. If I don't, just I didn't do it on purpose. And give me just a second here, and I'm going to try to text Cornell this link. I don't know if I can from out here, but I'm going to try it. But yeah, Don, that whistle, I can't repeat. I can't make that sound myself. But it was creepy for sure. So yeah, Will, I mean, I really appreciate that. That little bit there helps buy some gas back to the woods. That's what I can say there. But guy, Cashew, Mr. Lee, trying to keep up with it. Sharon, I'm assuming you're meaning like the guy, Mr. Lee 3PO. Yeah, I see him on a lot of the stuff there. Hi, Slicker. See if I'm missing anybody's question here. Let's see what Will Star said. I agree with that. Yeah, Will said, I totally agree with that. Unless you are a SEAL Team 6 tracker, a Bigfoot isn't going to be found. They find you being curious, intelligent creatures. Yeah, we haven't really had much luck doing that. But I'm going to resend that link to Cornell because I was really wanting to get. There he is. He's popping up there. I'm going to bring my buddy Cornell on here. There he is. Loud, dude. You are loud.
Hold on, I'm getting I'm getting an echo or delay.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm pretty sure everybody here knows Cornell from the No Such Thing podcast. Can you hear me, Cornell? Okay, let's see. And yeah, Yeti's uncle, I'm a lot more worried about people than I am Bigfoot. I think we are much more dangerous. Hey, Cornell, how come you're in a green room? I'm out in the woods. Okay, red dirt cryptid. That's the one I was looking for. Do you think animals fear humans because they associate us with Bigfoot because we walk upright? No, I don't. There's been some along that line though, Brian. I've a long time ago, back 20 years ago, I had a website. I call it the old .com days is what I call it. I had a website called southernbigfoot.com, and I got a report of a lady that said she was driving home and saw a Bigfoot walking across a field right through the middle of a herd of cattle that belonged to her family. And that bothered her, I think, more than seeing a Bigfoot. Was she's like, why was it not terrified of the cattle? I said, I don't know. Fast forward to Live Wire, what was going on at his place. And if you watch the documentary that Carrie Arnold did on Mark's place there, there's a part of that where you see these dark bipedal beings dashing out of the woods among the horses and then running back into the woods. This is well past midnight, I believe. And Mark, if you're still in the comments or watching, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, the cattle in the one report were not concerned about the Sasquatch. Seems like Mark's horses were not either. So now, dogs, on the other hand, Brian, that's another story altogether. Historically, and with pretty much any report, dogs and Sasquatch do not like each other. So I hope that answers a little bit like that. I just got to say, man, there's so many things I want to do that just work and time don't allow. Like Brian from Red Dirt Cryptid, he's been nice enough to send me an invitation a lot of times, and he goes down to southeast Oklahoma, and I've just not been able to make that work. There's another gentleman that has bought some property up there as well that's invited me, and I'm not being snooty or anything like that. It's just getting around to, if I could retire and do this full time, I would be mingling with a whole lot of people. Cornell, how you been, man?
Oh, fine. I for some reason I can't see the bottom of the chat, so I can't reply to anybody. So for some reason, I need to mess with my settings on the computer so that the screen is smaller so I can see everything.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, if anybody has a question for Cornell, Zach Squatch said, "Hey Cornell, another one of my favorite tubers." So you got a fan here.
Yeah, I don't have much content lately, but thank you.
Let me back up here. And hey, there's Andy. How you doing, Andy? Have you had anything thrown at you before? Yes, the big rock that I was talking about that was bounced off a tree outside of our camp back in 2003. And there was now, if y'all have heard talk about Bigfoot investigations in areas in Oklahoma, there's an area that's called Area X. And I know where that's not what it's called. I'll leave it unsaid because there's a group doing research down there. But back before they were down there, I went down there, and there were some preppers made a couple of cabins down in this area before the Y2K thing, because the world ended in the year 2000 because computers, Anyway, it did. But there was a cabin there that I was sitting on the roof, and this is literally the most remote place that I have ever been to. Cornell can tell you where he and I have went a couple of times is pretty remote. That's very urban. I mean, that's not remote compared to where this is, because it's just way out there. But I was sitting on this tin roof, and something in the woods was throwing smaller rocks up onto that roof around me. So there's that. Let me back up here and see if I'm missing anything here. StreamYard link for Cornell. Mr. Lee 3PO. Let's see. High Slicker 383. Tammy says, David, going out by yourself scares me almost on anxiety level. Well, now keep in mind, I grew up in the country, and going out in the woods and stuff by yourself at night, that's stuff I've been doing since I was a kid. When I was 12, I got my first backpack, and me and friends from school in the summertime when we were out for vacation, what we like to do, this is here in southern Hughes County, and there's a lot of forest and hills there. We would put our backpacks on the weekend, and we would pick a direction and just start walking in the woods. And we found a place that was we thought it'd be good to camp. We would just set up camp. So now, granted, when I was 12 to 14, that was always with other kids my age or whatever. But then 16 rolled around. I got a driver's license and discovered that girls were very pretty, and I would rather do that than go out in the woods. So there was a time where I backed off for a little bit. Cornell, jump in there anytime you got something.
I've just been banned for 6 days because I said something on Facebook about that if anybody touched my daughter, I would kill them, and they banned me for 6 days. I saw that.
Really?
You saw it on Facebook?
Yeah. No, I don't do Facebook except for my music store.
It was a channel that goes out and catches these predators, and someone was talking about their kids, and I said, "Oh my God, I've got an 8-year-old daughter. If anybody spoke to my 8-year-old daughter like that, I would kill them." And I've just been banned for 6 days off Facebook. That's crazy.
Yeah. Neil said, "With today's gas prices, you must live a block from the woods." Actually, I'm a lot closer than a block from the woods, but where now the southern Hughes County location that I'm going to go at real soon, it's about 11 miles from my house, so not bad. Now the Kiamichi Mountains, that's a little over an hour's. That's about what, Cornell, took us about an hour and a half to get there, didn't it?
I don't know. I was blindfolded the whole time, so I don't really remember. I was in the trunk because it was so secretive. Dave just put me in the trunk with a blindfold on me, give me a few bottles of water, and that's all I remember.
No, and it's not. It's not that it's a secretive place, but it's like, I mean, anybody on here that investigates this mystery, I'll just put it that way. And we've got some of them on here. Brian Terrell, Bailey Evans, Will Starr, and stuff. If it gets out, and I've seen this happen more than once, if you've got a spot where Bigfoot activity is going on, it gets out, there'll be a lot of people flooding the area, and whatever was there finds somewhere else to go. So that's why, it's not that I'm secretive, because these are not like some place that people can't go. It's just, these are areas that I have found the most compelling evidence, and I know if it starts to get overrun with traffic, then whatever's there will find somewhere else to be. And that's just the way that works. So Cornell, you can't see the chat at all?
No, I can see the chat, but I can't reply. The reply box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can't actually. I don't know if it's always like that. I don't think it should be, but I know I was playing some video games and I couldn't access the bottom part of the screen.
Huh.
So I think I need to use the.
Well, that's the same problem I ran into, Cornell, when we did the Into the Void and did it from your computer instead of mine when it was on your show. I could see it, but I couldn't reply myself.
Oh, well, maybe that's what it is then.
Yeah. So if you see something over there in chat you want to reply to, you can verbalize it anyway.
So I'm curious, Krypton saying that the horses were not bothered by whatever was moving in the woods because they were not anything other than bipedal figures. So you think the horses just saw them as other humans or something?
I really don't. And because animals, man, they have such a heightened sense of things, of danger and such. They, if you'll notice, like cats, dogs, cattle, they notice things before we do. And
horses pretty stupid though.
No, cows are stupid. Horses are not. But no, that type of thing doesn't have anything to do with stupidity.
Right.
But their sense of smell, I think they pick up the human scent over a predator type scent. Plus the scent that a lot of people report that Sasquatch puts out, which I've only smelled that really bad odor a few times. And if you really look into Bigfoot encounters, it's not the majority of them that report that smell. So I've got kind of a theory or a thought that perhaps they can put out this smell, however they do it, when they feel threatened or wanting to be intimidating. I don't know. If anyone's got any thoughts on that, I would sure like to hear about it. Will Star said, if you can find the time to get away, let's all go. Cornell also to the Pacific Northwest for a few days or a week. Man, I wish I could. Like I said, if my IRA just blew up to where I could retire, I would turn my business over to my son, grab my truck, my backpack, and head all over the place. I think Randy Mahoney says, I think everyone agrees with Cornell. I don't know what.
About the killing thing, I should have
yeah.
Will Star, as he said, I should have used a different word. Someone used
right.
on my Facebook to say cracker is to back home. It's like an Ireland cracker means something that's really awesome, right? Oh wow, it was cracker. Right. So we used that word, and we were banned for using cracker.
Yeah, you got to. Everybody's got to be careful. with that. And I try to keep everything,
yeah, it's hard.
clean and all on
they
here.
Keep changing the rules,
But Cornell was blindfolded. That's funny. Curious cryptid. 5 minutes behind. I would say that the horses were not bothered by whatever's moving out of the woods. I would not say they were anything other than bipedal figures. Well, that's all we can say for sure. But with all the evidence and other things that were going on there, I just think there's just a very good chance that those were probably Sasquatch, and it would have not been smart for people to be out there doing that because Mark was armed and very ready to protect his family from anything. So it would have been very foolhardy for somebody to doing that. And Don, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the live streams, and if you guys enjoy it as well, just let me know. I mean, if you're interested in things like this, I definitely want to do them. If not, I'll do more live reports and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's always nice to check in because I've been kind of out of the loop because I haven't really seen anything new for a long time, and I just haven't really wanted to talk about anything. I mean, everything on the Facebook, I'm sure everybody here is on Facebook, and it's the same recycled stuff. There doesn't seem to be anything new, apart from people like yourself reporting from the field and stuff. But the actual, the culture and the videos coming through are just new people joining Facebook and recycling the same stuff, and then the same old arguments. I mean, they're still arguing about Hattie almost every day on Facebook. That's crazy.
Yeah. And really, I see friends of mine that are getting mad at each other about stuff said on Facebook. I don't need that. But anyway, I wanted to say here what Mark said, Livewire. He said if the horses were spooked, they would run to the center area of the field, usually at night. If they move suddenly away from the tree line, that's the area I'd start looking at. And now the figures that, and Canswash said that shadow did not look like a man. No, it did not. And the ones running out among the horses, and Kerry Arnold did a really good job of cleaning that video up and making it more where you could see it more. And it was quite something to see.
Oh, it's just the light off my T-shirt. I think my hair's in orange. It's pretty.
Yeah, great. I didn't know I saw you, Cornell. A friend of mine brought me this shirt to the store.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he said, "Man, I saw that," and they were down in Southeast Oklahoma. He said, "I just had to get that for you." It's a friend of mine. He's a recording engineer and a computer whiz. I've known him forever. Named Randolph Anderson, so giving him a shout out. And he brought that into the store. Really nice.
I'm actually supposed to be practicing for my band tonight. I was learning Night Train by Guns N' Roses. I was working on that, so I got to work on a different song every night. I have that one down, so I thought, okay.
I already know that song. I can teach it to you.
That's a fun song to play on bass.
I know this would probably be hard to do, man. We ought to do a live show where we're both trading licks or something on the guitar.
Yeah, I know that. Well, Lamb of God did it. I think I did a whole album that way.
I wouldn't doubt it. Let's see. Watch some Richard Pryor, Cornell, if he says it. Good point. Pyromedic said, watch some Richard Pryor, Cornell. Yeah. If he says it, don't. So, Kashuga Zentai. Yeah, leave us a comment after the show. It helps the channel. Okay, I've got a question on bluff. This goes out to the number one catfish hunter, Miller. He said, I'd gotten bluff charged by Bigfoot and didn't smell anything, but maybe myself. I've heard that term. I've never gotten a bluff charge. How do you define a bluff charge like that? I know, like in Africa, where one of the big mountain gorillas bluff charges or whatever, they see that thing coming right at them. Or if a bear does it, you see that bear. When you say you got a bluff charge, did you see the Sasquatch, or did you hear something barreling through the woods in your direction? And um, and believe that's probably what that was. I hear that term a lot, bluff charge, regarding Bigfoot, and I'm just curious, um, of these, how many people actually see what's making the noise. Yeah, Livewire, he's a metalhead too, man. Likes the metal. Yeah, uh, I'll tell you that I don't know anybody would have any reason to know. The last project I worked in, music wise, which I own a music store. I've been selling guitars and stuff for the past 30 years. But me, the guitar teacher at my store, and one of the best drummers that I know, probably the best drummer that I know, put together a Black Sabbath tribute band to play the local town that I have. I visited Ada Fest, and we played that. So I like heavy music like that. So
That's
the
fun, especially when
of,
you get a good drummer.
well, you know what I'm just so happy about is, I remember in Cornell, you may be, of course, Cornell, your father played drums for a famous band.
Yeah, Van Morrison back in the '60s. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's something else. But I remember growing up, like my dad was all, he was old country. Yes, Will Star, he does, just a little slower these days. Um, oh, lost train of thought. Growing up, my dad was like, you grow up, you'll want to play real music, country western and stuff. And here I am, I just turned 55, and I still like Sabbath, Dio, Night Ranger,
me too,
Ozzy, all of those bands I loved back in the 80s. Growing up, I still love them now. The only thing that's changed, I like other stuff also. Like I can appreciate the old country stuff as well.
Yeah.
Hip hop, can't get into that. Don't like hip hop because hip hop, like rap, don't like that. And I think it's simply because there's really not any guitar playing in that stuff.
There's a good beat though. There's good drums.
It's a good beat, but it's not something I can pick up the guitar and it's like, yeah, I'm going to learn an Eminem song or something. Nothing against it. Music's in different flavors. There's flavors for everybody.
Yeah, I love techno. I love like house music and techno. I love that shit.
Yeah, Livewire says Dave takes the glasses off for his YouTube live and Black Sabbath cover shows. That's true. But the reason I take them off for the YouTube show is if I wear my glasses on the screen, I can't see the screen very well.
Right.
And if I put my readers on, it's blurry, so I can actually see the screen and stuff better without the glasses. Do you cover fairies wear boots, Zach? No, we did not.
That's too easy.
Well, no, the thing about Sabbath, it's not how easy it is, it's the arrangement. We did a National Acrobat, Into the Void. We did a Paranoid, War Pigs.
Did you do any Black Sabbath? Did you do any Dio Black Sabbath stuff? Heaven and Hell shit?
Oh yeah, we did I. Have you heard I?
No.
Oh, that's one of the best ones.
I?
We did I.
What album is that off?
Yeah. That's on Dehumanizer, is that right?
Oh, okay.
I think
I'm not familiar with that.
But yeah, and we also did the Mob Rules.
Oh, that's a good song.
And all that. We did it wasn't a like sets. It was a concert format where every band, did so. And
Sign of the Southern Cross. That's a great song.
Yeah, we had some others lined up, but then COVID hit and we stopped playing.
I didn't know it was that recent. Yeah, we were thinking about that red dirt.
Yeah, but we don't. Here's the thing: we don't know if guitar would make a female Bigfoot attracted to us or a male Bigfoot mad. So the plan is I want Cornell to go about 100 yards into the wood from camp with his guitar and sit out there and play the guitar.
Yeah, it makes human females attracted, so we're rolling the dice here.
But on a serious note, though, Brian from Red Dirt, I've actually thought about taking an acoustic guitar out there. I even thought about a harmonica, and then I'm like, well, Les Stroud did that, but I can't play harmonica. And I
can't
think
either.
if I took a kazoo, that would definitely make a Bigfoot mad.
What about a didgeridoo?
Hey, somebody,
yeah, who was that?
when I was on Kerry Arnold's show the other night, where he was nice enough to promote my book,
Yeah, that's
there
where I
was a
heard that.
guy on there. There was a fellow on there that said it, and Kerry said he was actually a Aboriginal tribal elder in
That was it.
Australia.
That's where I heard that.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah, Yeti's uncle. Timing is odd with Sabbath on some of their stuff, but people are always like, "Man, Black Sabbath's easy to play." Yeah, the parts are very easy to play, but it's the arrangement. They're not arranged like a lot of songs or some
like
of
AC/DC too. You got to have a good drummer with AC/DC, or you're screwed.
Yep. Yeah, Heaven and Hell, Mid South Sasquatch. That was, I mean, Ronnie James Dio's songwriting was outstanding. We're kind of getting away from the cryptid thing here.
But, yeah, I'm going to get in tears if I talk about Ronnie James Dio and never seeing him.
Man, that's the best metal singer ever was in Maya. Malcolm says Red Dirt rocking the Squatch episode. Yeah, Malcolm, I'd like to get Malcolm on here sometime as well. Malcolm's had some really interesting experiences in the Kiamichi Mountains himself. Wow. And he was working on, and I don't know how this is going. Of course, I see Malcolm once in a while. He stops in the shop fairly regular and visits, but he was looking into rigging up a van with some infrared type gear on top of it and going out. And I, was like, man, that would be very interesting. Yeah, Mid-South, I did too. I grew up on Sabbath, Kiss, all that stuff back in the 70s. So Dave wants to see if you get back up or seduced Cordell. Yeah,
I'll take it. Whatever makes my channel go higher than 1,000 subscribers.
Hey, Evans, you have a Evan Bailey. Have a good night too, man. Thanks for stopping in.
See you.
So, anybody got any more questions regarding cryptids or whatever? Yeah, actually, Cashew, Kerry has had me on his show 3 or 4 times, I believe. Kerry does a great job on those Bigfoot Odyssey. That documentary he did at Livewire's place was he did a fantastic job. But yeah, I'd like to, if we do more of these interviews and stuff, I'd like to have Malcolm in here. He's got some neat experiences to share. Him and his wife in there. Like to get Brian from Red Dirt Cryptid on here sometime to talk about his deals. And if you ever watch the Red Dirt Cryptid investigations, man, he's always cooking up some neat stuff on his camp trips. So, and all of that. Breaks. Mid-South Sasquatch says, David, how did you like those breaks I found out there that resembled yours? Okay, for what, if just so everybody knows what he's talking about here, a few weeks ago, I hiked into a canyon out, a few miles from my home, and going down the edge of this canyon wall, there were a couple of trees that were, one was bent over this way and the other that way, and they were down from each other. And I couldn't say for sure that, yeah, Bigfoot did. I didn't find any other evidence. But Mid-South, and I don't know your first name, so I'll just call you Mid-South. He went out into the woods and found several of those trees that were the same, and he gave me a shout out in that video to bring it to my attention. Now, I don't know what to think of it. Now, the ones I found, they were older. They were not fresh. I didn't find any. If I come across a bend like that that's fresh and there's other evidence like footprints, something like that in the area, then I would say, yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance Bigfoot done that. On these, I filed the ones as something of interest is what I call it. Um, Now, Zach, and by the way, Mid South, I appreciate you giving me the shout out there to get my attention to watch that video. That was very interesting. Uh, Left field question, Red Dirt Cryptid. Have you ever heard of a Sasquatch wearing clothing or perhaps even jewelry? No, I have not. Um, that would mean they had quite a fashion sense, but no, I'm assuming maybe you have. I have not. Uh, Zach says, David, can you give us a description of the casino dumpster diver creature? Did you see the face? No. Um, it was side profile as it walked toward it. And keep in mind, this was not a dumpster, it was a grease trap. Now, a grease trap looks um, like a dumpster. It's the green square thing, but on top of it, it has a small square lid that opens up separate from the other. And it's a metal top. But it was very tall, very lanky. There's a small light pole beside the that grease trap that was halogen lamps that kind of bends over the top of it like so. And this thing come right under that. And we were able to, me and a gentleman that was investigating that with me named Roger Roberts were there. And we were able to measure the height of this creature at over 9 feet tall, which that rules out a guy in a monkey suit. And it moved very fluidly, very naturally, not like some of the, like, I don't want to call out, but some of the videos I've seen on YouTube that show
Bigfoot's lumbering through the woods looking at their
bumbling.
Feet.
Yeah, they do not bumble and lumber, or this one didn't. It was very fluid, kind of side profile, and what you see of it takes a few steps and leans forward and places its hand toward the small lid, and that's all that we saw in of that footage. I've heard other people talk about seeing something different. Uh, One person said he saw it, video of it getting into a dumpster and grabbing some trash bags. That was not the video I've seen, and if that video's out there, that means there are two videos from that area. So, and there were dumpsters, I'm sure, around there too. But so if somebody saw a video of it getting something out of a dumpster, then there's more than one video. But what I saw, you couldn't tell what color it is because it was in that kind of grainy night vision from a security camera late at night. So everything looks kind of a grayish color. But my perception, it was a darker color, and it was definitely hairy. But that's what I saw there. I'd love to see it again, and just because, you know. Will Star says, I have a video coming out about the Red River area in the Texas Panhandle. Is the Red River an area with a lot of sightings? Well, the Red River goes all along the lower part of Oklahoma, separates Oklahoma from Texas, goes from up north down along that, and then drains into, I forget what river, into Louisiana, down into there. And yeah, down in the lower Red River, down around Lake Texoma, and in that area, there are quite a few sightings that have been reported in there. So I've seen good evidence along the Canadian River in the northern Panhandle and Palo Duro Canyon outside the park. Okay. Back here. Okay, Mid-South, I missed the first part of that. If you see something I'm missing, Cornell, as far as a question.
You're just a little bit behind, I think. I was at a spot today down in Douglas State Forest. If you guys look it up in Massachusetts, BFRO, it's Douglas State Forest in Worcester County. And there was an encounter there like 7 years ago. So I walked through there, and I'm like, oh, I'll go find this place where the encounter was. But I mean, this thing is 15 miles around. You just drive for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just around the state park. It's huge. And so I went on this one trail. I walked for like 2 miles, and I didn't even penetrate where the lake was, where this, I haven't a clue, but it's really, really big. But it's really beautiful. I actually did a video on it today. I don't know what the quality's like, but it was a really, it looked like an ocean kind of a state park where you've got different kind of trees, I don't know what they're called. I think they were red maple, actually.
Wow. Yeah, it looks, from what I saw of it, of course, I started watching it and I texted you that I was or something, but then I got busy. I worked on so many guitars today, I was losing track of them. So it was a good day as far as that. But Chris Kimball said he had one of his encounters near the Red River. So yeah, they are, and like I say, most of you probably know of Cornell's channel. He's got some really good hiking videos on there as well. I'm curious about the countryside up there where in Massachusetts, and you get a good look at that stuff when he goes out on his walks.
Oh, thank you, Kashi. Kashi's on the ball.
Man, I tell you, for sure. Yeah, I put this video, scheduled it today, and Cashew immediately said, "I'll be there," and I just immediately said, "Hey, would you moderate?" So,
she's good.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding, man. I can't say enough. We do appreciate you, Cashew.
You should hit up those big channels with like 500,000 or a million subscribers on them, Cashew, and hit them up. Honestly, I'm not joking. Those guys are always looking for moderators because they get so much spam and stuff. So you could probably actually get a job in those places because God knows what kind of things they pay.
Very, very good at it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, Cornell, I've got here. You have any idea when you're going to try to come back down here?
Well, I'm trying to clear up some financial issues, and after that, any extra money I have at the minute, I'm either paying bills and trying to get myself on my feet, or I'm putting into the stock market because I have a couple of plays going at the minute, and they're ready to rip pretty soon. I've been doing a lot of research. I'm hoping summer. I think it's going to be summer. I've just got to wait until everything plays out. Everything should be done by June, and I just have to be able to justify it in my own heart when I can. Wow. Because obviously the kids come first and stuff.
One thing that I'll give you a heads up on in the summertime you come down here.
Yeah.
Be ready for extremely hot and humid with, it's just something you got to deal with. I spend a lot of time dunking my head in the creeks down there.
Well, is there anything we can get to plug into the tent to keep it cool? There's got to be something to
yeah, there's actually a big pine tree in the campsite we was at that has a 110 plug-in in it.
But there's got to be a battery operated fan or something.
God, no, that's bad. Yeah, if you do that, you're just going to make it worse. You just got to deal with it. Yeah, you just got to deal with it. I usually have a ice chest, obviously, but I carry a wet hand towel with me, and I just put it around my neck, and that helps. And I'm not above sticking my head in the creek.
Yeah. I mean, it gets humid up here, but it's not like Florida, for instance. I don't know what it's like.
I'm sure this isn't like Florida, but like this week, it's not. It's been in the 90s with like 87 to 89% humidity down here. And
wow, that's a lot.
It's just. In the summertime when I go out like that, I move slow, because it's just miserable.
I'll just have to be naked the whole time.
You need to stay up there till wintertime then. Hey, Cashew said I mod for a 200,000 and a 400,000 member channel, and you and Dave. Wow,
I hope you get down paid.
That's something else.
Because those guys are getting.
Brian and Red Dirt Cryptid, he said to put your tent in the creek, Cornell. No, Brian, I know you come down here in the southeast, but if you put your tent in the creek there, you'd have cottonmouths in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Immediately. Yeah, that would be.
I'm actually more afraid of spiders.
You know, the spiders that you run into out there, unless you get in the rocks where you might get a black widow. I mean, they're just like wolf spiders. They won't hurt you.
But you say they're
Um,
big.
yeah, tarantulas, they're big, but
Oh,
they're cut.
I know
They're
they're
not
not
bad.
harmless or they're not harmful, but
Well,
they're still. It's.
if you're off
I,
the ground, here's what you need to do, Cornell. When we go down there next time, just put your sleeping bag in the bed of my pickup, and that way nothing's going to get on you.
oh, inside the pickup.
No, 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 not inside. That was last time. Uh, in the
Oh,
bed
oh,
of the
oh, in the
pickup.
bed. Okay, keep
Yeah,
them
in the
covered.
back.
That's
That
right.
way you can stay cooled off and stuff. Will Star says, "Come to Ohio, boys. Not as hot and lots of encounter areas." Yeah, that's for sure. The Ohio grass man, they call it up there. Yeah, Chris, you're right. Oklahoma can be 100 degrees at night. I've been, gosh, one time last late July, I went down there to the Kiamichi Mountains, and it was so hot at night. I could not get comfortable enough to sleep. It was just the humidity was so ridiculous. It just felt like a heavy, wet, hot blanket on you. Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. I like now when Cornell's been down before. It was the first time in uh, late October or early November.
It was cold.
Yeah, and then the next time was in March. Now, Martin, the second time he was down in March, it was a lot colder. That night it got,
Yeah, it
but
was.
look, it's about climate. Me and my son Elijah, man, we're bundled up because that was really cold. But Cornell coming down from Massachusetts, he was just wearing a hoodie. So the cold didn't affect him as much, but I think the heat and humidity probably will.
Yeah, well,
Um, interesting about who said black folks don't see Sasquatch?
well,
Erica
Joe Rogan
Freedom.
said that. Joe Rogan said
Really?
that you have more of a chance of seeing black people looking for Sasquatch than you do finding the Sasquatch.
I didn't know that.
That's a
Now
joke
my
because it's always white
my
folks.
my good friend that got me the this shirt here, he's African American, and he's wanting to go with me sometime. So he's very curious about the whole Sasquatch thing. I sent him a link to the main part of this, and thinking he might show up for the chat. But yeah, he's like I said, I'm real curious about getting. His name's Randy Randolph Anderson. He is a recording engineer, and in my mind, I'm thinking, man, he does amazing work. He may have some really neat sound equipment that would reach way out in the woods and stuff. So we've talked about it a couple of times, but it just never. He's very busy with his work, so uh, I'd like to get a sound engineer uh, like the quality that he is out into the woods there. So and he's an outdoorsy person too. So um, didn't I know someone with the last name Okiki? Uh, yeah, not real personally, but the Okiki. Um, there's a missionary friend of mine that goes over to Africa, to Kenya and Nigeria, and one of the pastors of the church over there was the last name Okiki, and he brought him to Oklahoma with him, and they came to my music store, and he actually bought a sound mixer for his church over there. I want to, I man, it's been a few years. I can't remember with 100% whether it was Kenya or Africa, but yeah, his last name was Okiki. So, oh, yeah. You sent me an email. You're half Nigerian, but I mean, is Okiki a common name in Kenya as well? Because if it's not, because my friend Mike was his name, he spent a lot of time in both Nigeria and in Kenya. So that's if you'd asked me 10 years ago when all this was happening, I would have been able to tell you what country exactly it was.
Well, that's the other side of the
Um,
country or the continent.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I remember my friend that's the missionary over there. One of the ladies in the church gave her one of the traditional like dresses, and she wore it a couple times. It was very, very colorful, very pretty. So, like Live Wire, that was a good place to be. I'm up near Eureka Springs, Sharon. That is a beautiful area in the woods at the edge of town. The only thing, when I go to Eureka Springs, I've been there a lot of times, Sharon. I go in the off season because, as you know, you try to go into Eureka Spring in the spring and summer. It is so crowded, and I'm not a big crowd type person unless I'm playing music and they're there to see me or whatever. But anyway, but yeah, Eureka Springs, man, that's an absolutely beautiful area. Springs.
How many viewers have you got, Dave? I can't see.
Looks like 35 right now.
That's good.
So yeah, this was kind of a last minute thing. I got up this morning. I hadn't made any other video. I thought, I think I'll do a live like question and answer type deal, and it's been good. Let's see. Untracked Productions, instrumental hip hop. I don't know what that is. Is that spam?
Looks like it.
Get repo. And this whole Bigfoot thing is just amazing. Kelly, it's quite a mystery. It's either people think it's not real. If it's not real, it's the biggest mass hallucination at all. So, Untracked Productions. Who is that? Instrumental hip hop. That may be my friend Randy. That may be my friend Randy from Ada. I don't know. If it is, tell me, because he produces a lot of music. Cornell, Northern Maine has lots of encounters. I'm hearing from viewers. Not sure how far that is from you. Now, you're not too terribly far from Boston, are you, Cornell?
I'm like 35 miles west. Maine is it's like 2 hours to get to the south of Maine, but then Maine's very big. I got to travel 5 hours to get to the center of it, so it's a hike,
Red Dirt Cryptid Investigation. He brought this up the other day, and I meant to mention it earlier, but I didn't. He said, have you heard of any other books being written previously about Bigfoot in Oklahoma specifically? And I have not, Brian. And he brought up something that I may be the first one to write a book about Bigfoot in Oklahoma specifically. The closest thing I found looking into that, Brian, was a small pamphlet written about it. But as far as a book going kind of in depth as I did, I haven't seen anything. And I looked. So my book, Kiamichi Bigfoot, Investigating the Oklahoma Sasquatch, in the links below if you'd like to purchase one, may well be the first book written about that. Kelly, healthy skepticism is a good thing. But I'm telling you, I've seen enough evidence other than seeing the little dark hairy figure across the creek from me a couple of summers ago, to the casino footage that I saw, to the multiple times I found footprints, the eyewitness accounts that I have investigated and talked to people. I really do not have doubts at all that these creatures are real. The only thing that I do have doubts about is I don't think they're as numerous as what some people think. Now, I've investigated some that I'm pretty sure turned out to be mistaken identity, which that's totally, that can happen to anybody. Very few actual hoaxes. Now, for 13 years, I was a a reserve police officer in my town, Ada, and the reason I bring that up is when you do that, you get really a lot of experience interviewing people and talking to people and uh, gathering, because you've got to figure out when you're interviewing these people if they've been going through some kind of domestic dispute or whatever. Try to figure out who's telling you the truth. So I kind of carry that same methodology into when I interview people on this. So but yeah, if you interview somebody and they're just um, scared to death, I can kind of put it to like the investigation up by Grand Lake in Oklahoma of the two off-duty police officers 20 years ago. If they didn't see Bigfoot, it was a mistaken identity, and I don't believe it was, because they were scared to death. Even armed, they left all of their stuff down there. So, yeah. Okay, Untracked Production. He says, I'm not your buddy Randall, just a Montanan dude whose friend and his dad had a sighting, and I'm trying to have one myself. I know where they should be and when. This is just my old YouTube. Well, welcome. Used to make music. Well, me and Cornell are both musicians as well. So, yep, definitely welcome. Instrumental. Oh, yeah, Cashew's, giving you a thumbs up there. So, I've never been to that part of Arkansas, Mark, Pine Bluff. Mark's picked up some pretty scary stuff on his security camera out on his porch there. He posted on his YouTube channel. I think he said it was crackheads scoping out trying to steal something or whatever. But anyway, check out my friends on here, their websites, and whatnot. I'm getting texts here too, so let's see it. So, if anybody's got any last minute stuff they'd like to ask, bring it up now. If I don't get anything here pretty quick, we'll call it quits in a little bit. Go over to Bigfoot Odyssey and see who they're interviewing. Speaking of Bigfoot Odyssey, he was interviewing a guy here a couple of nights ago named Randy Harrington on there, who actually lives just very, very close here down around the Sulphur area. So, and a couple other people there in chat that I don't know why I don't know them. They're close to me. So, anyway, and Mark at Livewire, if you're ever back in Oklahoma, stop by and visit a bit. Miss seeing you, buddy. And anyway, Cordell, do you have anything?
Oh, I don't really have any info for the last while. I don't really have anything new at all. I haven't kept up with anything. You've
kind of been out of the deal for us a little bit. But anyway, hey, go ahead.
No, I'm checking up, every now and again, but I don't have anything to report really.
Will Star asked a good question. What are both of your most intriguing Bigfoot encounter accounts that you have heard? Will Carrie's is very scary. Behind that one, Mark, or not even behind that one, along with that, as far as the most just evidence at one place going on continually, Livewire's place there by Antlers. I've never just walked into a place and found that much anecdotal evidence when I was walking out in the woods, and eyewitness testimony is that really, and that's unusual for it to be going on like that. And I think with Mark's situation, obviously, I think his children out playing and stuff probably attracted their attention. Other than that, also the one up by Grand Lake with the off-duty police officers had a face-to-face encounter uh, there. Man, I would have to go back and look in. I've looked into so many of these. Keep in mind, I've been actively investigating and collecting reports since the mid 90s. So there's a lot of them, but ones that just stand out immediately is obviously Mark there from Livewire. The casino footage, that was really something. Um, the one up by Grand Lake. And I'd like to make it back up there again. That's a good long drive. That's about 5 hours from my house, though. But yeah, and Mark, his family moved away before, but I had every intention of doing a camp out in the woods there on Mark's property, but they moved back to Arkansas before we could get together on that. Crocs, big boxers, south. And thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. And Cornell, do you have any sightings you've looked into to answer the fellow's question?
The only ones I have that I really, really believe are the Mike Woody encounter and the Kerry encounter. They're the two encounters that I believe 100%.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are others, but I can't really think of them off the top of my head. And then, of course, my own, where the thing came around my tent. But, could it have been something else? It could have been. I can't say 100%, but it sure rattled me,
Yeah, and I mean, human error and mistaken identity, that is something none of us are above. That's why, if you go into the woods with monster on the brain and you're already kind of shook up, yeah, you can. But then again, you get those encounters that you just really can't come up with a better explanation. Like what I seen across the creek from me, I'm trying to. My first thought when I seen it standing there at the edge of that brush was a wild pig facing me face on. And it was just split second. And then I focused back on it. What sticks in my mind, black face, grayish black hair, 4.5, maybe 5 foot tall at the most, if I'm guessing. And just immediately when my eyes locked on it, it turned sideways and disappeared into the brush. And I don't know what else it could have been. And it was in an area that is definitely where things, have been reported. So, yeah, Untracked Productions. Carrie's account is, I've talked to Carrie several times on that, and he was literally escorted out of that hunting area by this creature. But yeah, that would have been really scary because I'm sure most of you seen it. When he saw it across the clearing, he thought it was a person until it stepped closer, So, yeah, that was something else. Well, anybody got anything left? I think we're ready to about shut this down. And, yeah, Livewire. Mark, he was on the phone with me. I haven't given away this exact location where I saw that either. I'm vague about it on purpose, but it was a place I was getting enough of a cell phone signal that I had Mark on the phone, and when this stuff was happening, and something ran after it got dark, ran kind of behind me, and I didn't see it, so I can't say. But Mark's advice was, you need to get out of there. But that was somebody said anxiety. I was feeling a little bit of anxiety there because that was very close and a lot of racket going on. There was vocalizations that I was hearing from like 2 different locations after that thing disappeared. They're kind of a guttural type. Not really like the Sierra sound type stuff, but kind of a gurgly, guttural type sound coming from 2 different areas. So that I will tell you, I was very aware of my surroundings. Mark was like, you need to get out of there. So Anyway, so again, Cornell, you got anything else?
No, I am.
Oh, has anybody here ever eaten dandelions?
I don't think so.
You know what dandelions is? The little weed that grows in the yard with the yellow flower. My sister made some jelly uh, out of dandelions, and it tastes like honey jelly. That stuff's
Really?
very good for you. And I've been collecting the flowers every day and making tea with it. And they say this stuff helps with allergies in your area if you drink the tea from it and stuff. And I've been picking the leaves and eating it like salad. And I've got to say, I've been doing this about a week, and my allergies have calmed down a lot. So that's a neat deal. Will, man, thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate that. Um, and yeah, we're going to have Will back on here sometime, Cornell.
Yeah, you can do a regular thing to have people on.
Yeah, if you guys, I tell you, Will, I haven't looked at his subscriber count in about a week or so, but I go on there and looked at his stuff quite a bit. He has really built a really good channel on those reports and stuff. And Will does some unique stuff. He'll do the report like the old historical report and show a map of that state and that area and zoom you right in on that stuff. And you know, I don't know anybody else right off the top of my head that's doing that to the extent that Will is. So, yeah, if you haven't checked out Will Star's um, YouTube channel, check it out. Mopar Bill, I drink dandelion tea during the spring and fall. But yeah, in the morning, Bill, when you get up, those yellow flowers are up. I've been picking a handful of those flowers and pouring really hot water on them and letting them stew for a while and drinking it like that. But you strain it because those little petals or whatever that get out of there, they kind of get in your teeth, but it doesn't taste bad. It's supposed to be really good for you. So, yeah, Mid South almost at 1300. That's cool, man. Yeah, I bit the fella. Again, I don't know your first name, but he's out in the woods a whole lot. So anyway, dandelion tea. Don't eat stuff you don't know what it is. It could be bad for you. Jeffrey, his thing is Jeffrey Sasquatch. On one of my mushroom hunting videos, he said, "Well, if you eat a mushroom and see flying Bigfoots, you got the wrong mushroom." So that
Sounds like the right mushroom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Malcolm, dandelion, man. The dandelion leaves, I've just been washing them off good and putting a salad dressing on them. They taste like the darker lettuce, So anyway, okay.
All right,
I've been saying we're gonna call it real good, and I appreciate you guys stopping by and asking your questions or whatever. If you'd like for us to maybe do this more regular, please leave me a message down there in the comments if you'd like to do more of this. I like to hear you guys' questions. If you've got any reports or encounters you would like to share, I would like to have those. If you want them shared on this channel, I will. If you don't want me to, just say don't share this, and I'll just archive it for my own records. But if you have an encounter with the Sasquatch or any other cryptid that you would like to share, please send it to me in an email at bigfootandmore@yahoo.com. That's bigfootandmore@yahoo.com. And again, I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Cornell, likewise.
Yeah.
So,
thank
you guys have a good one.
All right, guys. Good night.